Right now, every single person alive on this planet, all 8 billion of us, traces back to two specific people. Not a metaphor, not a religion, not a theory. Actual DNA science proved it. One man, one woman, two people who walked the earth in Africa thousands of years ago with no shoes, no language, no idea what a human being even was yet. And every single one of us came from them. But here is the part that will genuinely break your brain. They never met each other. Not even close. Let's start with the man. Scientists call him Y-Chromosomal Adam. He lived approximately 200,000 to 340,000 years ago, somewhere in Africa. Nobody knows exactly where. Nobody knows his face. Nobody knows what he sounded like. Nobody knows if he was tall or short, or funny or serious. But every single man alive today carries his Y chromosome. Every single one. Here is how scientists found him. The Y chromosome passes from father to son almost completely unchanged. Generation after generation after generation. So scientists took Y chromosome samples from thousands of men across every country, every culture, every ethnicity on Earth, and traced the lines backward, all the way back. And every single line converged on him. One man, standing somewhere in Africa, hundreds of thousands of years ago, completely unaware that the code inside his body would outlast every civilization, every empire, every language, every name humans would ever give to anything. He was not the first human man. That is the part most people miss. When Y-Chromosomal Adam was alive, there were thousands of other men walking the same earth, hunting the same animals, sleeping under the same stars. But their lines ended, not because they died young, not because they were weaker, simply because at some point in their line, a man had no sons, just daughters, and the Y chromosome trail went cold. Only his line made it all the way through to today, unbroken. Now let's talk about the woman. Scientists call her mitochondrial. She lived approximately 150,000 to 200,000 years ago in East Africa, most likely in the region we now call Ethiopia or Tanzania. She was roughly 5 feet 4 inches tall, dark skin, dark eyes, tightly coiled hair, built perfectly for surviving the brutal African heat. She had no house, no bed, no language the way we have language. She woke up every morning in the same position every human woke up for hundreds of thousands of years before her, hungry, aware of danger, and grateful to still be alive. Here is how scientists found her. Inside almost every cell in your body, there are tiny structures called mitochondria. They produce the energy that keeps you alive, and they carry their own separate DNA that passes almost exclusively from mother to child. Every time a woman has a daughter, that daughter carries her mitochondrial DNA, and that daughter passes it to her daughter, and on and on and on. Scientists took mitochondrial DNA samples from people all over the planet, every country, every culture, traced every line backward through mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers, going further and further back through time, and every single line led to her. Not because she was the only woman alive. When Mitochondrial Eve walked the earth, there were tens of thousands of other women living alongside her, but every other maternal line eventually hit a dead end. Some woman in each line at some point had only sons. The mitochondrial trail stopped with them. Only one unbroken line of daughters survived, all the way from 200,000 years ago to today. Hers. Which means right now inside your body there is a piece of her. A biological message she passed to her daughter, who passed it to her daughter, who passed it across 200,000 years of ice ages and droughts and migrations and wars, until it reached you. She never knew your name. She never knew you would exist, but she kept her children alive long enough for the line to continue. And here is where the story gets genuinely strange. Remember how Y-Chromosomal Adam lived 200,000 to 340,000 years ago? And Mitochondrial Eve lived 150,000 to 200,000 years ago? They were separated by somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 years. The man every human traces back to, and the woman every human traces back to, missed each other by a gap of time longer than the entire recorded history of human civilization multiplied by 10. Adam and Eve, the most famous couple in human history, never existed as a couple at all. The names were chosen by scientists simply because their line survived. Not because they were together, not because they were the first, not because they were chosen, simply because they were the last ones standing when every other line ran out. Now here is what their actual daily life looked like. Adam woke up every morning with one job: find food and do not get eaten. He hunted in small groups, not alone. Alone meant death. A single man against a lion or a leopard or a pack of hyenas was a dead man. Safety was the group. Always the group. Most hunts failed. The animals they chased were faster, stronger, and had been running from predators their entire lives. A successful hunt might happen once every several days. When it did, the entire group ate and celebrated. He did not choose a woman the way we choose partners today. There were no dates, no conversations about the future. Relationships in early human groups were fluid and communal. The group raised children together. Everyone protected everyone else's children, because in that environment, a child that lost its mother did not survive unless someone else stepped in. Eve gathered plants, roots, berries, insects, eggs, everything she could find and carry. She provided roughly 60 to 80% of all calories her group consumed. She was not the weaker one. She was the one keeping everyone fed while the hunters came back empty-handed again. She gave birth with no doctor, no medicine, no one who had read a single word about what was about to happen, just pain and instinct and the hands of whoever was nearby. And she survived it. More than once. At least one of those times she had a daughter. That daughter survived, had a daughter. That daughter survived. And 200,000 years later, here you are. Now here is the question that should genuinely keep you up at night. What made their line special? Why did his Y chromosome survive when thousands of other men's did not? Why did her mitochondrial line make it through when every other line eventually ended? Was it luck? Was it strength? Was it something in their character that made their children slightly more likely to survive? Science does not have the answer. And that is the haunting part. The man and the woman that every human alive today came from were probably completely ordinary. They probably never did anything remarkable by the standards of their time. They woke up, found food, protected their children, and went to sleep, just like everyone else around them. But their children survived when others did not. And their children's children survived. And the line kept going through every disaster this planet threw at it for hundreds of thousands of years, until it produced every artist, every scientist, every farmer, every king, every ordinary person who ever lived, every human who ever loved someone, every human who ever lost someone, every human who ever looked up at the night sky and wondered what was out there, came from them. Two ordinary people in Africa who never knew each other, who never knew what they were starting, who simply survived one more day, and somehow that was enough. If that made you feel something, then subscribe,